I'm going to help him out for a little bit. I'm going to help him out, and then I'll have her. CW basketball.
88.1 The Berg, your music central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to tonight's matchup. I am Ryan Gildersleeve, your broadcaster, not only for tonight, but for all of the action throughout winter break. That is right, folks. I am so glad to be with you for tonight's action as your Central Washington Wildcats take on the Northwest Missouri Bearcats. Let me tell you, folks, this is bound to be a great night of action for both of these two teams. I thank you for joining us on our broadcast, whether it be via 88.1 The Berg or through your CW Athletics live stream. One way or another, folks, we've had a couple of great games this last week or so, and I am just so excited to be able to get into the action once more. Folks, a little bit about the Northwest Missouri Bearcats. We haven't seen them a whole lot, especially being up here in Central Washington. We haven't had this team enter the arena, at least for the last couple of years. Now, something to know about them. So far on the season, overall, they're 2-7 within their conference, 1-1 on the year. Their last game came against Northwest Nazarene University. Yep, they traveled to this game just right over from Spokane. And in that matchup with NNU, 58-64 your final score. The Bearcats would drop that one. So the Wildcats tonight, of course, coming in off of a big win of this last Saturday against Evergreen State. Tonight they come in, hope to blow out another opponent the way that they were able the other day. Of course, that one ended in a very convincing fashion. Your Wildcats taking home a 111-79 win over Evergreen. And man, were all cylinders firing in that one. Folks, it was an incredible game. If you want to just single out a single player, I don't think that I have ever seen a better performance than what was put on by Jordan Clark within the Nicholson Pavilion the other day. What an incredible matchup it was for him. 6 3-pointers when all was said and done, and he was just on fire from everywhere. When you have 18 points of your total makeup that's made up beyond the arc, and you're facing a team that is known for their ability to guard the perimeter, that's just something to pride yourself on, and so we'll give him his kudos here. Now, let's talk a little bit about Northwest Missouri, and let's talk about what the Bearcats are bringing into this game. I've got 3 names for you to watch as this whole game transpires and as we make it a little bit closer to that final buzzer, folks. The first one that I've got for you, Marcus Glack. On the season, he's only averaging 7, 2, and 1, but he came into this last game and he put up 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists against the Nighthawks of Northwest Nazarene. Of course, the Nighthawks operating within the GNAC. They're a team of a similar caliber, if that's the way that you want to put it, to your Central Washington Wildcats. Now, with that, just know that the Wildcats, they're ready for a performance like that, and I'll explain them a little bit more later. Now, the next name to keep in mind, Trey Moala. On the season, averaging 4 points, 4 rebounds, an assist, and a block for Northwest Missouri. Now, in his last game, and get this, only 5 points, 2 rebounds, but 3 steals and 3 blocks he brought to the game for the Bearcats. So just incredible defense, and if he can bring that into this one, it's going to cause some issues for the Wildcats. the last name I have for you to watch. If you look at the stat sheet, it's going to make a whole lot of sense. It's the top scorer for this team, Emery Knox. 14 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists, also averaging a steal on the season up until this point. In that last game against Northwest Nazarene that I've spoken about a couple of times here, 15 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. A really solid all-around performance from Emery Knox, and we'll expect to see a good one from him here tonight. Folks, before we cross over that buzzer and we get into the pregame festivities for this one, let's talk a little bit about your Wildcats. I have 3 names for you to watch as well for your Wildcats, and they should come to no surprise of anybody. Now, your first one, I talked about him a little bit already. Let's go over Jordan Clark. Jordan Clark has been a dangerous man for the Wildcats this year in a way that we obviously could have anticipated off of his performance last season and just the way that he was able to contribute coming off the bench there, but with a little bit bigger of a role this year, really operating out of that second guard spot while Garrett Anderson, listed as a guard, more fills a small forward type of role for the Wildcats. Jordan Clark has just been incredible. Of course, we can go back to that last game, 24 points, a rebound, 2 assists, and a steal. He just had a great game for himself. On the season, he's averaging 14, 2, and 2, which puts him in the second place spot on the Wildcats for scoring. Also, just doing a good job moving the ball around from that 2 spot where you really do see a lessened focus on ball movement. Now, the next name, Jamari Harris. Folks, if you've watched the Wildcats matchups throughout this point into the season, you have seen the fireworks that come off of this man's hands when he jumps for the rim. Jamari Harris knows how to throw down. He knows how to rattle a rim. He knows how to get in his opponent's head. If he's able to do that tonight, then who knows what that's going to spell out for the Bearcats. Your last name? It's an easy one, folks. It is Kevin Holden. Kevin Holden, of course, in both of our GNAC matchups, we have seen him take over, be named player of the game, at least for our broadcast crew, and there's a reason for that. In that last game, he showed it off. 13 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists. He was incredible, and you really just cannot take that away from him. But let's talk a little bit more about what he did last game and a little bit more about the impact that he's been having. Kevin Holden in that last matchup, 10 points. That's to be expected. 9 assists. Incredible for a guard. Still within the realm of possibility. 8 rebounds. Kevin Holden, not somebody who is incredibly tall. He's not playing as a 6'7" guard that you've seen somewhere around the league in a couple of different places. But what he's able to do is he's really able to crash the boards well. And where this comes into fruition the most is on the offensive side of the ball. He is someone who's going to be able to get you possessions when you really either don't deserve it or you just haven't gotten to a point where it looks like it's going to go in your favor. But he's been great at flipping around those opportunities, and we're going to hope to see a little bit more of the same here tonight. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we are just about 15 seconds away from kicking off with our pregame festivities, so we're going to go ahead and send you off to a break. When we get back, we will have the opening of our matchup tonight between your Central Washington Wildcats and the Northwest Missouri Bearcats. We'll see you in just a little bit here on 88.1 The Berg and your CW Athletics live stream. 88.1 The Berg, your music central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. Ladies and gentlemen, you are hearing the voice of Ryan Gildersleeve. I am, in fact, your broadcaster, not only for tonight, but for all of the winter break action. That is right. If you had heard the matchup just previous against Northwest, not against Northwest, but against Evergreen State, you would have heard this voice and you would have heard the explanation already, but I'll give it to you one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your only broadcaster for the remainder of winter break, and so if you do get strained on this voice, I do apologize, though. I do hope that is not a incomprehensible mountain to climb, if that makes sense. One way or another, folks, I will provide your play-by-play and color commentary for tonight's matchup between your Wildcats and the Northwest Missouri Bearcats. So I thank you for joining our broadcast, whether it be via 88.1 The Berg or through the CW Athletics live stream. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we were in the middle of a little bit of a pregame show, if you will, and let's jump right back into it, because there's some information that you might want to know about the Northwest Missouri Bearcats before we jump right into the matchup. Folks, we talked about some names to watch on both of the two teams before the break. Now let's talk about some keys to the game, because for Northwest Missouri, if they want to come in and they want to have a different showing than Evergreen State did, there's a couple of things that are going to need to happen. Now, the number one key to the game for Northwest Missouri, in my personal opinion, is a strong offensive post presence. We saw what happened in that last matchup against Evergreen State. We saw the way that Solomon Campbell was able to dissect the Wildcat defense in the painted area. We need some difference tonight. Tonight, if Northwest Missouri comes in and they're able to dominate the paint in that same fashion, I have a feeling that this might just tip in a direction that nobody wants to see, one way or another. Now, with that being said, folks, we've got a couple other things to cover here. A strong perimeter defense at this point appears to be the only way to stop the Wildcats. The only way to slow the train, if you will, because they're not leaving the tracks. But if you're able to keep them contained from the perimeter, what we've seen up until this point in the season is that maybe it's going to create a little bit of hesitation as far as where the ball gets moved next. The Wildcats love to shoot from the perimeter. They love to huck up shots, and they've got some guys that are real good at it. Whether you're looking at it from efficiency, whether you're looking at it from skills, the Wildcats have guys that can get open and knock down shots if you allow them to have them. So the Bearcats definitely going to have to limit that. Also, another point, and quite possibly the biggest one that I've got for you, ladies and gentlemen, they have to convert on stolen possessions. I'll expand. Ladies and gentlemen, in that last matchup between Northwest Nazarene University and the Bearcats, there were 7 points scored off of turnovers by the Bearcats. How many turnovers did they force? 14. They're going to need a little bit better a presence tonight if they're going to want to defeat the Wildcats. But we have begun the action. So, ladies and gentlemen, now the Bearcats moving it around the perimeter. Shoots this one out left, and here on the drive, they're going to shoot for the left side corner once more. Now in the hands of number 33. He passes inside, working against Garrett Anderson, puts up the shot, and that one is off. Rebound, and he's not going to be able to get the second one to go for him. Rebound to the Cats. Kevin Holden bringing it up that right side. He's going to use the screen from Sanders. Now shoot it back to him at the top of the key. Making his way forward. Looks like he wants Anderson, and he'll find him. Garrett Anderson doing a great job of keeping that ball in his possession. Now making his way forward, fighting through some contact. Whistles will blow. So an interesting start to the matchup here between these two teams. Of course, we talked about it a little bit before, but the Northwest Missouri Bearcats 1-1 in conference play, 2-7 overall on the season. Your Wildcats advanced to 7-3 overall on the season after their win against Evergreen State on Saturday. Now, Kevin Holden with the ball in hand, working against the Bearcats. He's going to get a little bit of contact. No whistle, though, and Garrett Anderson is going to miss a three. This one off the back iron, rebounded now by the Bearcats. That one specifically went to Marcus Glack. Now this one handed off on the right side, trying to find separation. They shoot it to the top of the key. Now back to him against Kevin Holden. Shot gets put up, but that one's off. Rebound goes to Holden. That one didn't go in the favor of the Bearcats, but it's exactly what we were talking about. Need a strong post presence from them tonight. As here is Maverick Sanders on the drive. He's going to lose it for a moment, and they'll say that it stays in the possession of the Wildcats. That one poked out by Luke Moustakis. Your starting five for the Bearcats tonight is Emery Knox, Luke Moustakis, Marcus Glack, Jack Radigan, and Byron Alexander. Now inbounding for the Cats is going to be Jordan Clark. He goes right into Brizzy. Brizzy now backhanded off to Clark, moving out right with it. He's going to get his guy jump in, move it back inside for the big man. Now here's Jordan Clark for three. And how about we pick up where we left it off? Jordan Clark nicks his first three of the night. Now the Bearcats trying to answer back quickly, and they're unable. This one rebounded by Garrett Anderson off that back block. Now bringing it up on that right side. He's going to move it over to Mitch Brizzy. Brizzy now on that right side flat, trying to use some dribble moves to make his way inside. Here he comes. Shot is put up, and the whistle will blow, but it appears it'll just be an out-of-bounds call, and the Wildcats will retain possession. That one contested by number 33, Jack Radigan. As now here's Clark inbounding to Maverick Sanders. He'll step back, put up a mid-range shot. That one is off, though. Rebound going to number 11, Byron Alexander, as he passes over to number 1, Emery Knox. Now moving it around the perimeter are the Bearcats, but this one's going to be plucked out by Garrett Anderson. Anderson with the Wildcats fast break in hand. He gives it to Holden, who hits a step-back three. Kevin Holden showing off to get this matchup started. Let's see how the Bearcats respond. Now Knox, he moves this one out right and they head back to the top of the key. This one attempted back for Knox. He's got some tight defense on him from Kevin Holden. Now a three-pointer, pick and pop on the right side. That one is off, attempted by Marcus Glack. Here's Kevin Holden bringing it up that right side. He's going to move it inside for Brizzy. Brizzy looking to use the body to get a little bit of separation against Radigan, but instead he'll bail out to Anderson. Anderson now to Sanders. Maverick Sanders had a nice bounce-back game for himself on Saturday, and he's going to get his first two of the night with a great layup inside. 8-0 your score. The Cats lead it. Now here's Emery Knox. He's going to move this out right. And now looked like it was going to be handed off, but no foul on that one. Here's Emery Knox with it now. On the drive, he's fighting against Mitch Brizzy, which is not what you want as the one guard. Now this one's going to be plucked away by Maverick Sanders. Let's see what he can do on the break. Moves it to Anderson for three. That one is off, and it's going to hit off the shot clock, the referees say. So just like that, possession moves back into the hands of the Bearcats. It's a great mascot. I got to say, Bearcats. How great is that? What an aggressive being. One way or another, folks, it is them with the ball in hand as Radigan will be the inbounder. He tosses into Knox. So now Knox cross half court once more. The Bearcats still searching for their first points of the game. And they might get it here as Emery Knox shows off some nice ball movement, gets inside and hits the dribble move to create separation. First two for the Bearcats there. They trail by 6. Here's Maverick Sanders. Hands off for Jordan Clark. Clark moving out right with it. Back to Holden. Holden to Anderson. Anderson to Sanders. Sanders to Brizzy. Brizzy to Clark. Now back out for Holden. Holden looked like he wanted it. Doesn't take it. Gives it to Anderson. Anderson back out Brizzy. Now to Holden. Looks like he wants it again, but now he'll take the step back midi and knock it down. So 2 points to Kevin Holden on that one. Give him 5 so far on the matchup. He's got Knox in front of him, but he'll bail out to Radigan. Radigan now hands this one off, and they try to go back to him, but this one's plucked away by Jordan Clark. Now here's Kevin Holden with it. On that left side, uses the screen from Brizzy, now moves it out left for Sanders. Sanders, step back three, unable to hit on that one, but a great effort there, and they're going to call a foul against Jordan Clark. A little bit aggressive in his pursuit of the rebound. They'll say a little bit of contact against Marcus Glack on that one. And they're going to go ahead, call a timeout on the court, so we'll take one too, and be back with you in just about 30 seconds here on 88.1 The Berg and the CW Athletics live stream. And we're bringing it back here on 88.1 The Berg, your music central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. Ladies and gentlemen, you are hearing the voice of Ryan Gildersleeve, and what an interesting first 4.5 that we've seen in this matchup between your Wildcats and the Northwest Missouri Bearcats. Folks, the Wildcats coming off to a hot streak to kick things off, 10-2 your current score, so an 8-point lead for the Wildcats. Of course, we saw a bit of the, maybe the inverse, if you will, against Evergreen State and the Gooey Ducks to start that one off. Definitely a slower start for the Wildcats, as we've seen this approach where kind of starting to mix in some different rotations in these exhibition matchups, and it worked out well in the Wildcats' favor in that last one. We'll see how they play this one against against the Bearcats of Northwest Missouri. Now here's Radigan with it. He's going to toss out right for Glack. Glack back to Radigan. Tries inside. Instead, he's going to pass out to the perimeter. Now moves this one over for Knox. Emery Knox getting some separation, but he's going to toss this one. Ooh, actually, thought that one was stolen for a moment, but no. And they will get a 3-point shot off before this one is moved back into the hands of the Wildcats. Maverick Sanders with it now. On that left side, he moves it back for Holden. Holden heading out right with it. Tosses this one up for Williams. Williams now back out Anderson. Anderson to Sanders. Maverick Sanders on the drive. Kicks back out for Anderson. Same deal here, but he's going to lose it for a moment. Now, back out for Sanders. Sanders driving from the perimeter. He's got 4 seconds to make something happen, so he finds Williams in the corner, who's unable to knock that one down. Rebound goes to Calvin Sisk, the big 7-footer, and now Maverick Sanders going to use a less-than-designed screen by Sisk to put up a 3. This one not going to connect. Now on the other end, once again, are the Bearcats. Here's Radigan with it, moving out left. Working against Sisk. He doesn't find what he wants, so he goes back to the top of the key with Knox. Knox now moving out left on the drive. He's got a tough situation ahead of him, but he's going to get around the big hand of Calvin Sisk and get his second score of the night. 4 points to his favor. Now here's Williams. He's going to move this one out for Sisk. Sisk now back out Williams. Eli Williams on the drive. He's going to lose the ball here, and it's picked up by the Bearcats, number 5. And he's going to get this one up. That one off. Rebound goes to Anderson. It was attempted by Trey Moala. As now Maverick Sanders, ball in hand for the Cats. He's going to attempt to go inside for Sisk. Sisk is unable to reel it in. And now here are the Bearcats stopping, putting up the shot, and that one will fall for number 10, Marcus Glack. Kevin Holden coming up that left sideline. He's got Knox in front of him, now calling out a play. Let's see how the Wildcats approach this one, up by 4. Losing just the slightest bit of footing here as he steps back and puts up the 3. That one will not land, though. Rebound goes to Radigan as he tosses over to Knox. Knox now attacking strong, goes up for it, unable to knock it down, but the fist will fly, and just like that, we've got free throw shots coming. So 2 for him. He'll have a chance to cut the lead down to 2 as Emery Knox putting the Bearcats on his back up until this point in this one. He's got 4 of their 6 points. The other 2 for Marcus Glack. Looks to push his total out to 6 with this one. So far on the season, Emery Knox been a 96% free throw shooter. He will knock down the first one, staying in accordance with that number as the Wildcats bring in Jamari Harris as well as number 5, Kobe Parlin. Exiting the game will be Maverick Sanders as well as Garrett Anderson. And so now we await the shot from Knox. Puts that one up, and he'll knock it down. So both he will be successful on, and the Wildcats regain possession. It'll be Williams and Jamari Harris, the backcourt for the Cats, as now Harris on the drive. He's going to move that one backwards. Now here's that was Sisk. Sisk moves it over for Holden. Holden. He's going to kick to the corner, and this one's going to be lost out of bounds by Williams. So now the Bearcats take back over. It appears the inbounder will be number 11, that being Byron Alexander. What a matchup it's been for the Wildcats here. Seem to be doing just about everything right. Now, what they need to really start to correct here is the early trend of turnovers being committed. Of course, we mentioned in that last matchup, Northwest Missouri able to force 14 turnovers, though they only capitalized for 7 points. So something for the Bearcat fans to keep in mind here, as Knox now shoots it to the inside, and the attempt is going to be off. by Byron Alexander. Sends possession back into the hands of the Cats, as it appears that Williams will be the inbounder. Holden appears set to take that one over. So now here is Kevin Holden moving up that right side. Now crossing that big old half-court logo. He gets it over to Jamari Harris. Harris now hands it off to Parlin, and this one's stolen, intended for Sisk. Sisk is going to block that one right at the rim. And it's going to be a little bit too much time left after the play as number 23, Padre Gallagher, is able to come in and get that one to go. And now a timeout called on the court. So we're going to go ahead and keep this one here for you, folks. Let's talk a little bit about the Central Washington Wildcats' keys to the game. We talked about what Northwest Missouri is going to need to do if they want to get their footing in this one. Now let's talk about the other end of things as your Wildcats get ready to hopefully advance themselves to 8-3 on the season so far. Now, I think that there's a couple of easy signs that you could pull for yourself if you're watching over the tape from the last few games. The number one thing the Wildcats need to do here tonight, folks, is emphasize ball movement. Strong ball movement gave them what they had to win by such a large margin on Saturday, and it's really going to be what they need to have in order to win tonight. Now, do I think that the Wildcats are going to be put back at all based off of their ability to move the ball tonight? I really don't. But it's something to keep in mind. It's an emphasis that should be in the back of the mind of every one of our Wildcat players that's suited up tonight. Now, the next key that I have for you. The Wildcats need to stay aggressive, but it has to be contained. You can't just be flying off the walls, and you can't be committing fouls at the same clip that we saw in this last game. We saw a situation where the Wildcats allowed their opponents in the Gooey Ducks to enter the bonus way too early into that second half in this last matchup. And even though you have a large lead, even though you have the support system you feel you need, and even though there may be a pillow under you, even the trapeze artists are going to have a mistake every once in a while. And so I hope that sentiment echoes in the minds of the Wildcat faithful. One way or another, ladies and gentlemen, we'll jump right back into the matchup, and your last key will have to save itself for later. Eli Williams bringing it up for the Cats here. He's going to move out right for a moment. Now he finds Mitch Brizzy. Brizzy now to the corner with Parlin. Parlin back out Williams. Williams driving on the right side. Moves himself inside. Can't find separation. Finds its way out of bounds, and the Wildcats will win the coin toss there on who touched it last. Definitely a difficult one from my perspective, though the boys in stripes definitely have it covered tonight. No conviction in those calls, as that one is going to be called against the Wildcats. That's a quick transition there. And now the Bearcats will take back over. Your inbounder will be Byron Alexander, as that foul went against the Wildcats' number 32, Jamari Harris. So he picks up his first of the night, only the third to the Wildcat total, though the Bearcats only won themselves. So something to keep in mind here as we move back to that aggressive but contained style the Wildcats need to exemplify. Now here are the Bearcats moving it around. Some interesting offense here as they've got some new players in. Now this one looks like they wanted the inside look. They won't get it. So now maneuvering the the perimeter. This one shot back up towards the top of the key. Now on the drive, and they'll hand that one off. Coming up and around. And they get the inside look, but he's stuffed by Harris. So Jamari Harris doing a good job of keeping the rim locked down for the Wildcats on that one. And a couple of substitutions for the other end as the Bearcats will bring Knox as well as Radigan back into the game. Inbounding now will be Javion Byers. He's going to toss that one in, and now Jordan Clark with it. On the drive, gets up, gets it to go, and he pulls the foul. Jordan Clark having a hot start to this one. Really just carrying on that momentum that he got himself on that matchup Saturday. He's got a chance to push his scoring total up to 6 with this trip to the line. The Wildcats lead it 12-10. 11:24 remaining in the first half of action, so approaching what would be the second quarter as Jordan Clark gets ready to shoot here. So far on the season, at least coming into this game, 93% he's shot from the charity stripe. He's going to show it there as he knocks down the free throw. Now here's Emery Knox with it. He's matched up with Eli Williams as he crosses that big old half-court logo of the Wildcats. Moving out left with it, Jamari Harris got his hand in on that ball, but it's going to stay in possession of the Bearcats. Now on the drive, there's Javion Byers, almost gets it stolen from him. Instead, he's going to kick it to Knox, who nails an open three from the corner. Emery Knox showing you why he's the top scorer on this Bearcat team. as now Jordan Clark with it. Moving on that right side, he tosses in for Mitch Brizzi. Brizzi working against Radigan, trying to find separation. He's going to pull a call. And that is something that you have to admire about Mitch Brizzi. We've talked about the physicality, and we've talked about his ability to get inside and make his opportunities count. But that's just a great a great showing of it right there. He gets inside, uses those shoulders, and then he throws up what would be the shot, and he pulls the foul. So a great job by Brizzi to get himself to the charity stripe on that one. He's shooting 73% on the season from the line. He's going to miss that one. One more coming to him, though, as the Wildcats make a change here. Jamari Harris will exit the game in exchange for Maverick Sanders. Your current slate for the Cats is Clark, Parlin, Brizzi, Williams, and Sanders. Mitch Brizzi getting ready for the second of two. And that one is off as well, so this one will remain tied at 13. Now, here is Knox moving on that right side. He's going to kick this back. Looks like they want him again, and they'll get him. Emery Knox calling the shots here, matched up with Eli Williams. Moving out right, and the pass will too. Now at the top of the key. Back to Knox. Knox looks like he wants to use the screen from Radigan. He will. Now he's going to give it to Radigan, who gets inside and misses the inside look. Good pressure put on him by Mitch Brizzi there. And now here's Kobe Parlin. He's going to lose it after what was a dribbling battle. Now on the drive is Emery Knox, and Brizzi unable to pressure him into a miss on that one. The Wildcats now trail for the first time in this matchup, down 15-13. Jordan Clark with the ball in hand as he looks to help correct the Wildcats' early game woes here. Eli Williams now with it as we enter what would be the second quarter of action. Williams now over to Brizzi. Brizzi hands off to Clark. Clark coming around, getting himself inside and pulling the foul. So you have to appreciate that for the Wildcats, doing a good job of getting inside and accepting physicality as they fight against the Bearcats here. And what a contested matchup it's been to this point. Trailing by 2, a chance for Clark to go ahead and tie that one up here. So far on the season, Clark shooting about 93% from the line as previously mentioned. Now we await that first shot. It is up, and he knocks it down. So Jordan Clark doing a good job there to get 1 point back. He's got a chance to tie it up here as the Wildcats are going to check in Kevin Holden and Garrett Anderson. Kobe Parlin will exit the game as well as Eli Williams as Clark prepares for the second of 2. Puts that up, and we've got a tie ball game once again, ladies and gentlemen. 15 is the even slate as Emery Knox now bringing it up for the Bearcats. Moves this one out right. Now back to him. Now handed off to Glack. Glack to Knox. Knox working against Kevin Holden here. He's going to head out right, drive for the inside, and it's blocked by Maverick Sanders. Sanders gets up, says, not in my painted area. Sends that one to the sideline, and now the Bearcats will look to readjust. Number 11, Byron Alexander, the inbounder for the Bearcats here. Now getting ready for the inbound. He'll find Emery Knox. Knox stops. Now on the pause, goes for the pump fake. Back to the perimeter he goes, and he moves it out right. This one looked like it was going to Glack. Instead, they'll find Knox once again. Emery Knox thought he had his pocket. Instead, he takes the 3, and that one is all off. Rebound goes to Garrett Anderson. Anderson now using some fancy dribble moves to get past his man here. He's going to hand it off to Jordan Clark. Clark matched up with Glack. Back to Anderson it goes. Now inside for Brizzi. Maybe looking for another inside look. That's what Brizzi's signaling. He goes up for it. That one's off. Rebound to him, and he gets his second chance look. Mitch Brizzi knocks that down. Now every Wildcat in the game besides Garrett Anderson has scored. This is the Wildcat starting 5 that you've got on the court for you. Emery Knox on the drive against Holden. He's going to put up a rotating mid-range shot and get it to go. Some impressive signs being shown by Emery Knox here. One would be hard-pressed to not know why he's the top scorer on this Bearcat team. Mitch Brizzi with the ball in hand now, backing himself up. Again, he's going to look for separation, get his man jumping, and again, he's going to get it to go. So really, just building on what we were talking about last game, needing more inside opportunities for your big men. Whether it be Maverick Sanders or whether it be Mitch Brizzi, that's just something they're going to have to focus on. Now Marcus Glack with the ball in hand. He moves this one out right. Now that one to Byron Alexander. Alexander looking like he's trying to call a sign for his point guard Knox. And Now on the drive are the Cats once again, the Bearcats that is. Now back to Glack. Glack working against Sanders and Brizzy, and he's going to get a mid-range to go. A very tightly contested matchup between these two teams. Neither one able to break away easily here. 19, the even-keeled slate for both of these two teams. As now Jordan Clark looks to command this offense. Moving out left with it. He's got Anderson in the corner. Not going to use it, though. Instead, he's going to take a second, get it to him now. Now over to Holden. Holden on the drive. He finds Sanders in the corner, and they'll say that Maverick Sanders stepped out of bounds on that one. So an unfortunate turnover by the Wildcats. They will hand possession to the Bearcats when we come back from the timeout. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to keep it with you here because we've got a couple of bits to share. Now, what I just saw and what we just spoke about, that inside approach by the Wildcats, it was something that I had already noted, and it was something that I had down for our third key of the game. The Wildcats need to keep the paint in their possession. If they don't have the paint in their possession, then yes, they can attack from beyond the perimeter, but it's not the most economical, the most efficient of shot choices for your Wildcats. But what we've been able to see already is Mitch Brizzy just attack and dominate the paint. On both of those last two drives, he made his way inside, used his dribbling moves, and was able to get guys jumping before he had even thrown up a pump fake. Now, if he's able to continue to do that, if he's able to get confidence in those moves, then what I really think is going to happen is that Mitch Brizzy is going to unlock an ability to draw fouls and to get to the free throw line that we haven't seen many times throughout this Wildcats last few years. I mean, obviously you could throw out names like Samad Hector and Matt Paquette that were really good at getting inside and taking contact, though you also have to acknowledge that both of those guys, while they definitely were high-skilled finishers, they weren't guys that were always trying to pound the inside. Samad is someone we've noted as being more of a utility guy for the. Of course, he was used as the main big, and he led the team in rebounding, but a lot of his scoring coming from all different points of the court. Now, what you can't say about Mitch Brizzy is that same thing. We'll see him take a three-point try every once, maybe every 3-4 games, but he's not someone that's trying to expand his perimeter shooting. He's someone who dominates the inside. I'd like to see the Wildcats play into that here. As now on the other end, the Bearcats going to attempt to swing it inside, and it's going to go out of bounds. They'll call it for the Wildcats. So Emery Knox picks up the turnover on that one. And, you know, something else to keep in mind, I'm not just talking about Mitch Brizzy when I'm talking about attacking the paint. I want to see it from Maverick Sanders. I want to see it from Calvin Sisk. I want to see it from the bigs on this roster. Because if the Wildcats are able to really dial in their presence inside of the perimeter, I don't think there's a lot stopping them from repeating as GNAC champions, maybe even making a solid run at the D2 tournament. As now Mitch Brizzy kicks out to Clark. Clark to Holden. Holden back out Clark. He's got Sanders wide open in the corner. Knock it down, why don't you, Maverick? Really just capitalizing on what was a great bounce back opportunity on Saturday for him. He put up a great stat line in that one, and he's continuing here tonight. You love to see it from Maverick Sanders, the stretch four he is. Now attempting for an inside try, they're going to get it over to Alexander as he's going to get another two to go for him, his first two of the night. Clark now over to Anderson. Anderson back out Clark. And they'll play hot potato with it for a second. Now over to Kevin Holden, another wide open three, and that one just off. Rebound goes to the Bearcats, number 23, Gallagher. Gallagher hands it off to Knox. Knox working against Garrett Anderson here. This one's going to be tossed off his head. They'll call the foul. This one's going to go against Garrett Anderson. So a reach has to be the most, I don't know. It makes sense as the call there, but one way or another, folks. And so the inbounder for the for the Bearcats is going to be number 10, Marcus Glack. Let's see what he can do here as he tosses right into Knox. Emery Knox now moves this one out left. On the drive, they try and collapse that left wing. Not getting it much to go there, though, as they attempt for the easy shot. Mitch Brizzy making it less than that, though. That was number 5, Moala, attempting that one. Another wide-open three for Holden. Listen, he might have missed those last two, but you cannot let that be a part of your game plan. Brizzy now, back out Anderson. Anderson to Sanders. Sanders collapsing from the corner. He's going to draw a foul as he goes for the shot. So another couple of chances at the charity stripe for the Wildcats here. Let's talk about what Maverick Sanders has done at the line this season. 69% as it currently stands coming into this matchup. Obviously, a chance here to either push that up or down for himself. But with 5 minutes and 48 seconds remaining in this first half of action, you have to imagine the Wildcats looking for every opportunity to put points on the board that they can get. First one's going to get knocked down by Maverick. Let's see what he can do with that second one. And he'll knock it down. So just like that, Maverick Sanders, perfect from the line here in this trip. And it's Knox now. Crossing over that big old half-court logo of the Wildcats. Matched up with Holden. He's going to take a cut into the left side. Now back out. Three-pointers up. Knock it down, why don't you? Big number 24, Luke Moustakis, making the Wildcats pay on that one. Now here's Maverick Sanders. Back to Williams. Williams moving out left with it. He's got Anderson on the other side. Anderson now back inside for Williams, and they're going to throw the fist up. So what should be the sixth foul of the matchup against the Bearcats is going to be called as such. That one going to go against Moustakis, his second of the matchup to this point, the sixth by the Bearcats, who have sort of let that portion of the game go a little bit since we last talked about it. Eli Williams will be the inbounder for the Cats here. Gets the men moving. And he's going to go up and over for Garrett Anderson. Anderson being guarded here by Gallagher. He's going to move it to Williams. Now Williams attacking from the top of the key. He's going to bail out to the perimeter with Kevin Holden, it appears. He will go up and over Knox to Holden. Now he's got 5 seconds to work with. Kevin Holden on the drive, looking to draw contact, but it doesn't matter. He gets the layup to land. Nothing you can do to stop the Wildcats from carving you up on the inside. You'd think that it was still Thanksgiving the way that people are watching this one go. It is all home cooking for the Wildcats if they make their way inside. Now Maverick Sanders with another steal. He plucks this one away. Heading back on to the other end. He's going to kick out for Holden. Holden to Anderson. Using the left side now. He's going to kick back for Holden. Holden using that big-bodied screen by Brizzy. Step back three. And that one is off. Brizzy doing a good job going in for the rebound, but it's going to get called in the Bearcats' favor. So 26-24 your score, and the Bearcats with yet another chance to even it up. And this one going to be inbounded by Gallagher. Let's see what Knox and the Bearcats have in store for the Wildcats here. 4 minutes, 20 seconds remain in the first half of action. Now here's Knox with it. He's going to move that one outright. Now on the drive, they move it to Gallagher. Gallagher tries to go back over, but this one's going to get plucked away by the Cats. Maverick Sanders now coming up that left side. He passes over to Anderson. Anderson to Holden. Back to him. A little bit of hot potato action on there. He's going to move it over to Maverick Sanders. Sanders now back out Holden. Holden making his way inside. Step back. He's going to pass to his left for Williams. Williams moving it that same direction for Brizzy. Brizzy now working against number 24, Moustakis. He attempts the pass, but it's picked off. The Bearcats doing a great job staying in those passing lanes here tonight. Now here they will go from the top of the key as they look to draw something up here. It's Alexander moving it out right. And now they look like they want Knox. They'll go back to Byron Alexander. Now a top of the key three put up. And the pick and pop is off for Moustakis. Kevin Holden gets the rebound. Now Holden crossing that half-court line. His team leads it by 2 with about 3 minutes, 15 seconds remaining. Holden driving, kicks it over to Brizzy, and they'll throw the fist up. So a foul is called on this one. If that goes against the Bearcats, which you have to assume it does, and it will, it'll go against number 11 for the Bearcats, that being Byron Alexander. Just like that, the Wildcats have entered the bonus. 3 minutes remaining in this first half of action. Folks, they're going to take a timeout on the court. We'll take one, too. Be back with you in just a moment here on 88.1 The Berg, your Music Central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. 88-1 The Berg, your Music Central. Ladies and gentlemen, you are hearing the voice of Ryan Gildersleeve. I am, in fact, your play-by-play and color commentator, if that's the way that you want to look at it, for all of our matchups throughout winter break. I thank you for joining our broadcast here tonight, whether it be over the airwaves on 88.1 The Berg, or whether it be via the video live stream on your CW Athletics pages. Folks, thank you for tuning in tonight, and thank you for joining me for what should be and what has been a great night of action between your Central Washington Wildcats and the Northwest Missouri Bearcats. Let me tell you, folks, not a team you could have really expected to make their way up to the Wildcat Stadium here tonight. But they played that last matchup against Northwest Nazarene, sort of put themselves in a position to come out, play against some more GNAC basketball. And, you know, they put up a pretty solid showing in that last one, only falling by 6 points to the Nighthawks, as Mitch Brizzi is going to knock down the free throw. He will redeem in at least a little bit of a sense from those first couple that he shot. Looks to even it up at a 50% efficiency for the night so far. This one put up. That one's knocked down. So good job, Mitch Brizzi. A great trip to the line there. And checking into the game for the Cats will be Xavier Kamalu Vargas. 4-point lead for the Wildcats, and they are in the bonus. 3 fouls to work with before they put their opponent in that same position. Now here's Gallagher. He's going to move this one, and now it's going to go to Knox. Knox against Kamalu Vargas. Takes a step back. Now looks like he wanted to go up and over to Holden. He's not going to have the Now this one back out for the Bearcats on the drive here. Moving it around the perimeter a little bit more. They want Knox again. They'll get him. He's on the drive. He got his pocket, and he made the most of it. You really just can't allow those kinds of opportunities if you are the Wildcats. Emory Knox on the season for his team, averaging 14 points. He's already got 15, so that number's getting higher here tonight. Jordan Clark moving out right with it. He's going to stop, take the spin, attempt to slide it over to Sanders, but it's lost. It's going to go into Bearcat favor. Now moved over on the drive, puts up the shot, and he's blocked by Anderson. That one attempted by number 23, Padraig Gallagher. Now on the other end, Sanders goes up for it, and he is fouled. So a couple of opportunities at the charity stripe for Maverick Sanders, who has been really aggressive tonight. You like to see it. Attacking the paint strong. Whether he's attacking the paint or whether he's taking shots from the corner, his ability is really starting to come to fruition a little bit more with every game as this season goes long. He will attempt from the line once again. I believe in his first trip to the line, he was perfect, and he's going to maintain that at least through shot number 1 here. Came into tonight's matchup averaging 69% from the line. 8 points to his total now, a chance to make that 9 and push the Wildcat favor to 4 points with this one. Up it goes. Down it'll fall. So just like that, Maverick Sanders, a perfect trip to the line. He pushes the Wildcat lead up to 4, now sitting at 30-26. 2 minutes remain. Emory Knox, he's going to move it out right, and it's going to make its way back to the top. Looked like it was going back to him, but it will not. Trying to find a post look. They'll find it, and they'll convert on it quickly. Byron Alexander doing a good job playing that hybrid guard forward role tonight for the Bearcats. Anderson moves it out for Holden. Holden to Sanders. Sanders to Kamalu Vargas. Over for Clark. Clark looked like he wanted it. Doesn't take it, though. Moving out left. Now he trails towards the top, and they're going to call the foul here against Xavier Kamalu Vargas and put possession back in the hands of the Bearcats. The 5th Wildcat foul of the half, and that's going to spur on a timeout. So we'll take one, too. Be back with you in just a moment here on 88.1 The Berg, your Music Central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. .1 The Berg, your Music Central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. Ladies and gentlemen, you are hearing the voice of Ryan Gildersleeve, your play-by-play commentator and color commentator, if that's the way you want to look at it, for all of winter break's action. That is right, folks. I am man alone at sea, a castaway, one would say. Typically would be joined by the voice of Jackson Roberts, though he is enjoying his winter break away far different than the way I enjoy mine. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where I want to be. There is nothing better in the world, at least in my personal opinion, than calling this Wildcat basketball, as now the Bearcats looking to make something happen on their end of the court. Only about a minute 15 seconds to work with before we call it for the first half. Here's Emery Knox on the drive. He's going to have this one fall incomplete for him, as now Kevin Holden takes back over for the Cats. Moves it out left for Anderson. Anderson now coming up that left side. He puts up the shot. That one is off, though. Garrett Anderson's cold night still continuing. He is scoreless through the first 19 minutes of action this first half. And now inbounding will be Alexander for the Bearcats. He moves it over to Knox, and now they get ready for the drive. Knox now coming up that left side. He's got Kevin Holden guarding him. Now he moves out right. Solid switch by the Cats, and now it's Clark. He moves that one out right. They go up and over for the inside look, and they'll knock it down. That one falls in the hands of Trey Moala. So far on the season, Moala averaging only 4 points for the Bearcats. Now here's Kevin Holden. He moves out right with it. He's going to go inside for Jordan Clark. Clark fighting through a little bit of contact, moves it over to Kamala Vargas. Back out Clark on the perimeter. Looks like he wanted the three there. Instead, he's going to have to put up the layup, and it falls incomplete. Rebound goes to number 24, Moustakis, and now they'll move it over to Knox to finish off the half, at least presumably. About 10 seconds remain in this first half of action. Emery Knox looking for the final shot here. Moving out right. Now to the outside. Driving is Moustakis, putting up the shot and missing. Rebound goes to Garrett Anderson, and a good way to end off the half for the Wildcats. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk a little bit about what this night has had in store for us so far. Once again, folks, what a matchup it's been, what a matchup it was on Saturday, and how fun is it to get these exhibition games happening here at the Nicholson Pavilion. I, Ryan Gildersleeve, couldn't be more excited to bring all of the action to you, whether it be on the radio dial or whether you be watching through the video stream on CW Athletics. Folks, I just got to say, that first half, not the way that you would have expected it to go. 30-30 your score, a very, very closely contested matchup between two squads that desperately want to walk away with a win here tonight. You can really see it on the way that they're playing on the court, too. Maverick Sanders, as well as Mitch Brizzi and the whole Wildcat faithful that runs that inside forward position, they have been impeccable on the inside here tonight. They are driving and scoring at a clip that we haven't seen for the Wildcats from that painted area a whole lot this season. And above that, what they've been able to do is open up a lot more on the perimeter for the Wildcats. Now, what you also have to say is that there's been some good perimeter defense been played here tonight by the Bearcats. That was one of those keys to the game that I threw out there for you when we got this thing started, and it still is just as prevalent as it was then. They've been able to exemplify that throughout the first half, and I have to personally believe that that is the reason why we have a 30-30 tied score. One way or another, ladies and gentlemen, we've got some festivities happening here at halftime, so we're going to kick it back over to the video stream here, and we're going to take a break. I will be back about, say, 10 minutes from now as we get ready to talk a little bit more about what we saw throughout halftime, and we get ready to talk about what these two teams are going to need to change in order to be properly ready to go at the beginning of this second half. One way or another, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in and sticking with us for the first half of action. Ryan Gildersleeve for 88.1 The Berg. I'll be back with you in about 10 minutes here as we get ready for the second half of action. 88.1 The Berg, your music central. 88.1 The Berg, your music central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the action. I am Ryan Gildersleeve, your play-by-play and color commentator for all of tonight's action. And folks, let's talk a little bit for this next 30 seconds or so about what we've seen so far from both of these two teams. Folks, if you're looking at Northwest Missouri and the Bearcats, what a matchup it's been. They have really been able to hold their own against the Wildcats here tonight. Of course, a lot of that effort and a lot of that credit, if you will, has to go to the name Emery Knox. 15 points so far tonight, using incredible skill to be able to kind of tear down the Wildcats he has. I mean, he's obviously showing off why he's the number one player on this Bearcat team, why they run the offense through him, all kinds of different things. I mean, this is a guy that just knows what he's doing out on the court. Now, let's talk a little bit about Central Washington, because there's a little bit more even a scoring distribution happening here. Maverick Sanders, 9 points on the night. He is your leading scorer for the Wildcats, followed up by Jordan Clark with 8, Holden with 7, and Mitch Brizzi with 6. Those are the only 4 Wildcats to score tonight. And what a matchup it's been. I mean, no one could have necessarily expected these two teams to go at it like gladiators, but it has been evenly contested as possible here. And we are back into the action. So Jordan Clark moves it out right to Sanders. Sanders now to Kevin Holden. And they get ready to see what they're able to do in a second half of action in a game that really they didn't expect to be as contested as it is. Maverick Sanders going to go ahead and extend his leading scoring night. 11 points for him now. Now on the other end, it's the Bearcats moving things around. This one looked like they wanted Knox. Instead, they're going to get it to the big man, Radigan. He's going to move it to Knox, and now this one's going to get lost. Picked up by Holden. Holden now takes the step back, trying to search for somebody. He finds Clark, Jordan Clark, wide open three, and he knocks it down. So Jordan Clark, what a shooting knack this man has. He has been on a fire these last couple of games. He now ties Maverick Sanders for the scoring lead on the Cats with 11. Wildcats lead it by 5, and that way is the best way if you are the Bearcats to cut that back down. They answer back with a 3 of their own, courtesy of number 10, Marcus Glack. Now on the Wildcat side of things, here's Jordan Clark with it, matched up with Glack. He moves it out right for Anderson. Anderson now gets the screen from Maverick Sanders, gets it back to him. Sanders on the drive, puts up the shot from mid-range, knocks, oh, wow. That one hit just about every part of the rim but the net inside. As now on the other end here, the Bearcats. Here's Radigan, he moves it out left. Now on that left side, trying to find the next recipient, and they'll find Knox. Matched up with Anderson here after a defensive switch. Knox moving in on that left side now, and Brizzi got up to contest it, got a little bit too comfortable there, and it'll be the first foul of the half. It goes against Mitch Brizzi, and sending, once again, Knox to the line. On the season, as we've previously mentioned, a 96% free throw shooter coming into this one. We'll see if he's able to continue upon his winning ways at the charity stripe here. First one's put up. First one is missed, and that one's going to fall in the hands of Garrett Anderson. Anderson now to Clark. Coming up that right side. He's going to move it over to Brizzi. Brizzi at the top of the key. Hand off to Holden. Almost loses it, but he keeps it. Now working against Emery Knox. On the drive now, he's going to create separation, get a couple to fall. 9 points on the night for Kevin Holden. Now here's Emery Knox. At the top of the key there, he moves it out right. One more time, it goes that direction. Back out Radigan. Radigan at about the free throw line, driving against Brizzi, trying to find separation. He finds it, and he gets 2 points. So just like that, Radigan gets on the scoreboard for the first time tonight. Jordan Clark now attempting the pass inside for Brizzi, but that should be an over-the-back foul. This one will be against Radigan. And so, with that, a substitution on the other end of things. Radigan will come out. In his place will be Trey Moala. We've seen a little bit of Moala tonight. 2 points on the scoreboard to this point. He also has been a little bit of a playmaker on the inside for them. Might not show on the scoring side of things, but pretty much everywhere else. You might just see it. Is now Mitch Brizzi with the ball in hand. He's going to look like he wants it for Holden. Instead, it gets to Clark. Clark now driving. He's going to get a nice bounce pass into Sanders. Maverick Sanders just a little too quick on the shot, though. He's unable to knock it down. This game now tied once again at 37. Here is Emery going up and miss. Oh, wow. Looked like it was going to miss, but it falls right in. That is Emery Knox on the score. He pushes his total up to 19 on the night so far, leading the opposition. Here's Maverick Sanders handing it off to Clark. Clark now back out to Sanders. Sanders driving from the corner. Looked like he wanted to pass over to Holden. Instead, he'll be fouled. So that will be the second of the half so far against the Bearcats. The Wildcats with one right now as they trail by 2. Clark will be the inbounder as they call the foul against Emery Knox. That's his third of the night so far, so something to keep in mind. 2 more will send him to the bench permanently. As now Jordan Clark. He's going to go right up and over for Brizzi. Brizzi doing a good job staying on his feet there with that one. He'll move it over to Clark. Clark now to Holden. Kevin Holden coming up to the top. He's going to drive now. Using the screen from Brizzi, and that one was money. Great opportunity there created by Mitch Brizzi and optimized by Kevin Holden. Now on the other end, Glack is going to go for it, but that one not going to make it higher than his shoulders before Holden gets it. He's going to give it to Maverick Sanders. You'd think you're at the Presbyterian Church the way these men got baptized inside. Maverick Sanders throws it down. Now on the other end are the Bearcats, trying to answer back after that thunderous slam. Now this one moved around the perimeter a couple of times. They're going to go out left. Driving against Jordan Clark. He had separation but doesn't use it. Now here's the shot put up from a long distance. That one is off, and the Wildcats unable to defend the second chance try. That's 2 points for Byron Alexander. As now here's Kevin Holden. He moves it to the top of the key with Mitch Brizzi. Brizzi now out left for Anderson. Anderson on the drive. Kicks back out for Sanders. Maverick Sanders, he's going to go back for Anderson. Anderson going to the inside, gets an opportunity and makes the most of it. 2 more points for him, his first of the night. The Wildcats lead it by 2. Now bringing it up, number 2, Javion Byers. Byers matched up with Anderson here. Anderson tried closing off that left side. That's the way that the pass will go. Now Byers with it once more. Going to take a step back, pass up to the top with Glock. Glock now, outright. It'll go that way once more. Now they'll give it back over to Alexander. Byron Alexander over to Byers. He puts up the mid-range. This one is off. Rebound goes to Garrett Anderson. Anderson now passes over to Kevin Holden. Holden back out for Anderson. Anderson's going to take a 3, and this one is off. Rebound on the inside to Moala. And Byers has it again for the Bearcats. Byers now heading out right. Takes a step back, wants another long mid-range, and he'll knock that one down. Yeah, if he's got a couple more feet on that step back, that's 3 points instead of 2. But here's Kevin Holden on the other end, looking to make him pay. He's going to drive now. A little bit of contact. He's going to stop, put it up. That one is off, and it's now rebounded by Alexander. Alexander passes to Byers. Byers now coming up on the drive. He's going to get it to go through contact. Anderson tried his best, wasn't able to stop him on that one. Now Jordan Clark bringing it up for the Cats as they look to come back from a 2-point deficit here. Obviously, a number of opportunities to bring that back to an even keel. You only really have one option if you're trying to take the lead here, but this is a man that you wanted in the hands of either way. Maverick Sanders on the drive. Whistles will blow. And just like that, a timeout is called on the court. We'll take one, too. Be back with you in just a moment here on 88.1 The Berg, your music central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. Here's Javion Byers, and he knocks down a 3 for the Bearcats. Pushes the lead up to 4 for him. What a showing for this squad tonight, coming into the Nicholson Pavilion and really giving your Wildcats a run for their money. Here's Kevin Holden. He's going to go on the drive, uses the screen from Sisk, and he gets blocked by Radigan. Sisk is there for the rebound, though, and he tosses back out for Kobe Parlin. Parlin now to Williams. Williams back out, and it's Kevin Holden with it. On the drive, he shoots it in for Sisk. Sisk going to catch it, shoot it back over for Holden. Holden's going to put up the shot, and that one is off. Rebound is going to go to Javion Byers. Kevin Holden tries to fall on it, but the effort will not be able to reel it back in time. Ball goes out of bounds. The Bearcats take back over. Inbounding will be number 23, Gallagher. As some orders being shouted out by both of these squads' head coaches. Trying to dictate what happens next here as he's going to inbound it directly to Knox. Emery Knox has really commanded this matchup here tonight. Javion Byers now receives the pass, puts up the mid-range, and he is money from there. What a night he's having so far. 11 points to his total now. The second Bearcat to hit double digits. Now Kevin Holden, he's going to make a man miss. Put up the three, but it is off. Rebound goes to the Bearcats, and what an exciting matchup that would have been. And now here's Javion. He's going to move it back out right. That one into the hands of Emery Knox. Knox now on the left side. Swings it back to Radigan. Radigan over to his right. Stopping. Looking for someone. Radigan gets chosen. Working against Kobe Parlin here. That is a mismatch that you want to exploit, and boy, did they do it. And one opportunity now coming for Jack Radigan. And a timeout's going to get called. So just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take one too. Be back with you in just a moment here on 88.1 The Berg, your music central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. And we are back to the action here on 88.1 The Berg, your music central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. You're hearing the voice of Ryan Gildersleeve, your play-by-play commentator for tonight's action, as well as color commentary if that's the way that you want to tie things in together. Just make sure you throw a pretty little bow on there for me, and I might just be excited about it. One way or another, ladies and gentlemen, what a matchup we're witnessing here tonight at the Nicholson Pavilion. The Wildcats facing off an exhibition against the Bearcats of Northwest Missouri. Now we're going to see what Jack Radigan is able to do from the free throw line. He puts this one up, and he will knock it down. So, just like that, 9 points, your lead for the Bearcats. The Wildcats have their hands full as they look to win the Battle of the Cats, if that's the way you want to look at it. Jordan Clark now with the ball in hand. He's going to lose it off his own foot, and the Bearcats taking back over now. Ball in the hands of number 23, Gallagher. It's going to give it over to Knox. Knox now, they're going to move it out left a couple of times as Jordan Clark pokes that one out and gets it to Holden. Kevin Holden now. What was a bit of a power play dissipates quickly, moves it to Clark. Clark for three, and that one is off. And now unable to get the rebound are the Wildcats. Now Javion Byers moves it over. Radigan throws it down. Double-digit lead for the Bearcats. 57-46 your score. 11 points separate these two squads. Mitch Brizzi with the ball in hand for the Wildcats. Looked like he was going to hand it off for Anderson. Instead, he gives it to Clark. Clark now to Anderson. Anderson on the drive. He's going to put that one up, and it is off once again. Rebound by Radigan. Moves it up. This one for Knox. Emery Knox on the drive. Draws contact beautifully, and he's going to the line. I gotta say, folks, the Northwest Missouri Bearcats are giving your Wildcats a run for their money. They are just exploiting every possible opportunity that they are able to find, whether it be defensively or whether it be on the fast break. And just like that, I mean, Emery Knox, he has taken this game over in a big way. 19 points, a chance to push it up to 21 with a couple of good shots here. And 3 fouls to each of them. Checking out of the game for the Bearcats will be Byers as well as Gallagher, as they're going to bring back in Moustakis as well as Glack. Glack and Moustakis have been consequential players tonight for the Bearcats, that's for certain. Bearcats a deeper roster than would have been expected coming into this matchup. As now taking the step back 3 and missing are the Bearcats, more specifically Emery Knox. A chance to really drive the dagger there on that one. And my apologies for miscalling what I believed to have been a foul. Now you are going to see a foul as the fist gets tossed up. It's going to go against number 5 of the Bearcats. That, of course, being Trey Moala. That's going to be the 4th foul of the half for the Bearcats, 3 to your Wildcats. So 3 more on the other end is going to send your Wildcats to the bonus as Kevin Holden driving inside. He's going to put up a mid-range shot. That one's going to be off, though. Rebound, Brizzy, and a quick second chance opportunity is going to result in 2 points for him. He's got 8 so far on the night as they cut the lead back down to 9. Now, here's Knox. He moves it to Radigan, and Radigan is going to toss out right once more. Now they go back to the top with Knox. Knox shoots that one outright, stopping, finding the next man, and Moala. Moala now to the outside, and they give it back to Knox. Knox to Radigan, working against Anderson. He's going to fall with that one. Not exactly sure what happened there, but it's a power play for the Wildcats. 5v4. Kevin Holden with it now. He's going to move it inside for Brizzy. Brizzy trying to work inside. He's going to get it to Sanders, who gets a quick 2. Give Brizzy the assist on that one. Paints the picture beautifully. And that's going to give Maverick Sanders his 15th points on the night. He leads the Wildcats to this point, and a timeout's going to be called. We'll take 1-2, be back in just a moment, as your Wildcats will return from this one in what would be the 4th quarter, looking to come back from a 7-point deficit. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a moment. .88 the Berg, your Music Central. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned into what has been a very intriguing night of basketball between the Central Washington University Wildcats and their opposition, the Northwest Missouri Bearcats. That's right, folks. The Bearcats making the long travel up from Missouri to Washington State to take on the Wildcats. Of course, they just faced off with the Northwest Nazarene Nighthawks, who they lost to by a slim 6-point margin. The Wildcats now do not look in much better position. They trail by 7 against the Bearcats, and we'll see what Coach Renta's drawn up to try and negate that. Now driving is Alexander for the Bearcats. He's got a lot of contact ahead of him, and he somehow sneaks one in. That pushes the lead back out to 9. Jordan Clark with the ball in hand now. What a fiery trail he's been on. Shooting from 3-point with really no hesitation and a lot of success over the last few games. Here's Brizzy moving it to Holden. Holden now to Anderson. Garrett Anderson moves out left with it off the screen from Brizzy. Now he drives. He's going to lose the ball, and the Wildcats really struggling with turnovers in this one. Now on the drive, and the easy score will be Luke Moustakis. Timeout going to be called by the Wildcats, and just like that, we're going to send it off for yet another one, ladies and gentlemen. They trail by 11. When we come back, we'll see what they've got drawn up to negate that. 88.1 The Berg, your music central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. Ryan Gildersleeve here, your broadcaster for tonight's action and all of the action throughout winter break. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, when I saw Northwest Missouri on the schedule as a team that we'd be playing an exhibition over winter break, I could not have expected, nor do I think many could have, the great game that they've put on with the Wildcats here tonight. They trail by 11 and are about 8 minutes and 25 seconds away from getting their third win of the season against a team that is coming off a championship victory. Here are the Wildcats moving it around. Kevin Holden with it. He's going to lose it for a moment, and he's going to toss it back in for Kobe Parlin. A good recovery there by the Wildcats, who have struggled with turnovers throughout the first 15 minutes or so. Here's Mitch Brizzi, tosses out for Maverick Sanders, who will take a corner three and knock it down. Just what the Wildcats needed to restart this track to a win. Now they trail by 8. Here is Alexander for the Bearcats. He's going to move this one over for Knox. Knox now moves it around a couple more times. And on the drive, on the mid-range shot, and on the miss will be Marcus Glack, but not without some external contact from Kobe Parlin, making that one a little bit more difficult than necessary. With Parlin's second, that pushes the Wildcat foul total on the half to 4, tied with their opposition. And it's his second on the night. Well, one way or another, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a intriguing matchup. Interesting, intriguing, whichever one of the I words you want to use fits this one properly. I mean, it has just been one of those games that's back and forth until it's not. Unfortunately, folks, we've reached the point where it's not so back and forth anymore, and instead there is a bit of a pillow for the Bearcats here. And I just got to say, I can't necessarily dictate to you that I see it lasting, but at the same time, if the Wildcats don't make some changes quickly, there could be an argument to be made that Northwest Missouri really handedly won this matchup. Now, let me tell you, a couple of things that we've seen throughout the course of this matchup that have specifically piqued my interest personally has been the play from Emery Knox, as well as a couple of other factors, which we'll cover, but Emery Knox, let me tell you, folks, this man has single-handedly dragged Northwest Missouri to a point where it looks like losing this matchup would be way more unexpected than the than the opposing idea there. Now, taking a look at the scoring totals currently for Northwest Missouri, the Bearcats have a top scorer supreme in Emery Knox. Now, the second leading scorer is Byers. Let me tell you, Javion Byers, he has really lit it up throughout the first stages of the second half of action, putting himself in a position to take over a few more looks at the end of this one, and they've brought him back into the game. So it really could be something to pay attention to, folks. Hey, let me tell you, I've got a grandmother. She lives in Missouri. She told me a couple of stories about that when I was real young at the family reunion, and none of them made me really want to mess with Missouri. She told me this whole tale about snapping turtles. You walk outside, one of your toes gets taken by a snapping turtle, you're never the same again, as the story's going to negate the first free throw from Marcus Glack. With that, we're not going to turn away from it. Let me keep telling you the story. She's like, yeah, no, you're going to lose a toe the second you walk out of my house if you come and see me in Missouri, as the second one is going to be knocked down by Glack. Now, let me tell you, you want to use a comparison. A snapping turtle might just be the one to talk about, as here tonight the Bearcats have been taken piece by piece out of the Wildcats with every drive. They lead it by 9 here as Brizzi is going to turn the ball over, passing into the bleachers. That one intended for Kevin Holden. The inbounder for the Bearcats will be Byron Alexander as he tosses into one of 2 guards faced with a full court press by the Wildcats. Looks like they're going to pretty quickly make their way around that one, though, as Alexander, matched up with Sanders, is going to switch back and head for the left side. He moves this one over to Byers. Byers now matched up with Sanders on the switch. He goes out right. That one into the hands of Glack. Glack steps back, moves it to Byers. Byers at the top of the key, uses the screen and goes left. Driving and puts up the layup, but he misses it. Rebound now going to go to Williams. Williams to Clark. Jordan Clark on the drive. Has a lot of contact. No call, though. And Mitch Brizzi's going to move it out to the outside. Williams to Clark. Clark looks like he wants to go for it again. Instead, he's going to kick to the corner. Gets it to Holden. Holden to Sanders. Sanders to the corner. And, wow, he wanted that one. He's going to take it. Jordan Clark misses on the three-point try. That would have been what the Wildcats were looking for. A little bit of a flame to get this one going. Now, they'll have to undergo another strong defensive drive if they want to get the ball back in their possession. You need an empty force here as Byers is going to move it over. Alexander now searching for the next target. He's going to find Knox. Knox now driving, stops, takes the mid-range, and that one is off. Rebound going to go to Maverick Sanders. Sanders coming up the right side for the Wildcats now. On the drive, trying to use the body here, create some separation. And that foot came dangerously close to going out of bounds, but he stays inside. Now it's Kevin Holden. On the drive, he kicks back out for Jordan Clark. Clark using the screen and going out right with it. He's going to stop. And once again, the Wildcats put in a tough place. Clark takes the mid-range shot, and it is off. The Wildcats just not finding their spots where they need to be. Javion Byers now. He's going to drive, take the step back, kick to the outside. Alexander's going to move it that direction once more. Here's Knox. Knox moving out left with it. He's going to go inside, and now through contact, it's going to be the Bearcats scoring. They're going to call a blocking foul on Maverick Sanders there. And just like that, he picks up his first foul of the matchup while the Bearcats send themselves to the line for an opportunity to push their lead out to 12. 5 fouls by the Wildcats in the second half, 4 for the Bearcats. Substitution here as Maverick Sanders comes out for Sisk. Sisk now actually is going to be coming in for Mitch Brizzi, it appears. And you can hear the Wildcat faithful there questioning the call. We'll leave that jurisdiction to the boys in stripes, though, as the free throw is going to be knocked down by number 5, Trey Moala. Now here is Jordan Clark. He's going to come up that right side. In front of him, he's got Glack. He's going to move this one over to Sisk. Sisk now stops. He's going to hand it off for Anderson. Anderson now to Williams. Williams, top of the key, he stops. Moves it out right for Holden. Holden trying to find separation on the perimeter. He can't. Instead, he goes inside for Sisk. Sisk now fakes, goes for the mid-range shot, and that one is off. Just not at all the shot that should have been taken there. As now it's Emery Knox coming up. He's going to pass out left. One more time, they'll go that direction. Javion Byers. Byers now steps back, passes inside. Looking for some sort of change of luck are the Wildcats, and they're not going to find it on this one. A very quick and easy score by number 5, Trey Moala. Now here's Kevin Holden. He's going to move it out left, drive inside, push it up, knock it down. Kevin Holden, a couple more points to his total. The Wildcats now trail it by 12 as they take a timeout. We'll take 1-2, be back with you in just a moment here on 88.1 The Berg, your Music Central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. Well, folks, we interrupt the break here as the Wildcats are going to score quickly coming out of the timeout. Maverick Sanders gets the pass and scores on that one. Now separated by 10 points are the Bearcats and the Wildcats. In the Battle of the Cats here, Radigan's going to score on the other end. A couple of very quick, fast break scores for both of these two teams to kick things off. Now here's Eli Williams. He moves it over to Jamari Harris. Jamari Harris finds separation, gets it to go. Jamari Harris has been so impressive over these last few games. He continues on that streak here. Now here's Emery Knox. He's going to bring it up for the Bearcats. Gets past Jamari Harris pretty easily there. Now a second opportunity for that battle. He's going to move it back out left for Alexander. Now back to him. Knox Loses it for a second, staying in front of Harris. Now driving, and Jamari Harris is going to get it. He tosses it up for Kevin Holden. Holden now on the drive, takes a step back, gets it to Anderson. Garrett Anderson with it. Moving out right, scanning his options. He finds Sanders. Sanders using the body against Radigan. He gets blocked, and that one is brought back in by Alexander. Byron Alexander now coming up that left side for the Bearcats. Guarded closely by Williams. And they're going to call a foul here. This one likely to go against Eli Williams for the reach-in foul. And that's how they're going to call it. The 6th foul of the half by the Wildcats. And there's going to be a timeout called, so we'll take one too. Be back with you in just a moment here on 88.1 The Berg, your music central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. 88.1 The Berg, your music central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. Folks, we come back out of the break with 3 minutes, 19 seconds to play. Your Wildcats trail it by 10, and if they want a path to victory here, they are going to need to work for it. They need unanswered possessions. They need unwarranted offense, and they really need to pull off something spectacular here. On the drive is Knox. Kicks over to Glack. Glack now out right to Alexander, who gets it back to Knox. Knox for Radigan. Now Radigan on the drive. He's going to move it over to Alexander, fighting against Kevin Holden. He's unable to get the first or second chance to go, and he's going to get a foul called on him on that second one. I don't know how you're to defend that shot necessarily, but one way or another, too much contact seen by the officials, and going to the line will be Byron Alexander. Still 10 points separating these two teams. Now the Bearcats in the bonus, so any future fouls will send them to the free throw line. As Alexander misses the first one, looked like Javion Byers thought it to be the 1-and-1s, but of course the bonus freshly entered with this foul we're shooting for now. Brizzy's going to come in for Jamari Harris. And 59-59 is not where you want to be. Under 3 minutes left to play if you are the Wildcats. You can sense a little bit of desperation as now Alexander puts up the second shot, knocks it down. So that pushes it out to 11 points separating these two teams. And now here comes Williams. Eli Williams coming up. He's going to pass it over to Sanders. Sanders now tries to go up and over, gets it stopped by Alexander. Now Sanders heads out right with it on the perimeter, moves it to Garrett Anderson, who will miss the three. I was a little bit taken aback on that one. Rebound goes to Alexander, and now they're going to call a foul against Eli Williams once again. So that will send to the line. That'll send to the line the Bearcats. More specifically, I believe it will send Byron Alexander to the line. Talking about Byron Alexander, 40% free throw shooter. So this is not his forte, if you will, at least not statistically, as he's going to miss the first of the 1-and-1, and Maverick Sanders gives it over to Kevin Holden. Holden now coming up the left side, uses the screen from Brizzy. He's going to stop, pass it out into the corner for Maverick Sanders. We know that's where he likes his three-point opportunities as Brizzy gets blocked, and the Wildcats are going to retain possession. I can tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, that should not be Wildcat possession. It truly should not. But if the boys in stripes and they are going to reverse that one. I was going to say, I don't think even I could have defended that one, as that will be Bearcat possession. And the Wildcats in a true full court set now. Alexander will be the inbounder. Well, no, he will not, as now a substitution will bring Luke Mustakis in for those duties. So Mustakis, the inbounder. He's got Jamari Harris in front of him. He's going to go up and over, and he's going to find Radigan. Radigan back to him. Now over to Knox. Knox now trying to come up that left side. He's going to find his slot. Jamari Harris does not get called for the foul on the jersey tug, as now Javion Byers, and that might have been a nail in the casket there, folks. As here's Jamari Harris driving, puts up the shot. He's fouled, and he missed. On that last play, it was a three-pointer nailed by Javion Byers. Folks, I got to say, coming into this one at 2-7 and 1-1 in conference play, I did not expect the Bearcats to come in and play with the commanding authority that they have, but they truly have taken this game and made it their own, making the most out of the road trip, that's for certain. As now Jamari Harris will knock down the first free throw. One more coming his way now. And a substitution, as coming out once more, is Luke Mustakis. Coming in will be Alexander. So now, Jamari Harris for his second free throw. He's going to knock it down. A good job by the young pup to get those two to go for the squad here on the season. He has been perfect, and he will continue that streak with that trip to the line. Now the Wildcats, of course, in fouling territory, sending the opposition to the line and hoping to see as many misses as humanly possible on the 1-and-1s. And so now a quick conversation with Coach Renta, and the remainder of the Wildcats will make their way to the free throw blocks. Couple of shots coming now for number 10, Marcus Glack, who has shot 85% on the season from the charity stripe coming into this one. We'll see what he's able to piece together here on this trip. 2 minutes and 4 seconds remaining in the second half of action, as Glack will nail the first one. 9 points for him, a chance to get double digits with this next shot. You can hear the Wildcat faithful trying to will it against the net, but it will fall for him. And now Kevin Holden receives the inbound for the Wildcats, and we'll get things started once more. He's going to head out right, then stop, take the step back, put up a layup. That one's off, and a foul is called. So Kevin Holden will shoot a couple at the line. He today, 16 points to his total. Been one of the more commendable Wildcat scorers on the season, of course, but you really just could not have guessed the way that he has taken over the reins of this team so far on the year. And now he will get a couple of shots from the free throw line. So the Wildcats dissipating from their short meeting as they head to the free throw blocks. And Kevin Holden on the inbound. He's going, or I guess not necessarily an inbound if you're getting it from the referee, but one way or another, he will nail the first free throw. 62-75 your score after that one. 13 points separate them. There's a little bit of discussion on who's going to do what. Second shot is put up and knocked down by Holden. And a couple of a couple of substitutions here as Radigan will come out of the game for the Bearcats, and Xavier Kamalu Vargas will come in for Eli Williams. Now this one inbounded to Knox. Knox moves this one over to the right side, and there's Alexander. Alexander now to Glack. Glack being swarmed by Wildcats. He attempts to pass it across half court, and a whistle's going to be blown by the referee, who immediately says, "That's my bad." He might have thought it to be an 8-second violation, but you could tell it wasn't that. So it will be Bearcat ball on an inbound, one would have to assume, and it will be. So Byron Alexander will be the inbounder for the Bearcats, and a timeout's actually going to be called. So before we get to the last minute 47 of action here, we're going to go ahead and send you off to break for the last time, and when we come back, we will have the remainder of this matchup here on 88.1 The Berg, your Music Central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. 88 won the Berg, your Music Central, and the CW Athletics live stream. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. 63-75 your score, as now inbounding for the Bearcats is Alexander. Now he's going to go ahead, send this one into Knox. Knox being guarded on the full court press, has the ball poked out of his hands for a second, but he will progress it across half court, and a foul by Maverick Sanders will send Alexander to the line. So with that, Alexander has a chance to push his scoring total up to 11 and the Bearcats total up to 77 on the night. That would be a 14-point lead over the Wildcats. It's really been one to learn from for the Wildcats, to say the least, as the first shot will be up and good. Substitution for the Wildcats as Jamari Harris comes out in exchange for Eli Williams. And now Alexander will get ready for the second shot. Puts it up, misses. Rebound goes to Brizzy. And the Cats now once again on the offensive. Here's Maverick Sanders with it. Coming up that left side. He's going to take a three. He's going to miss a three. Now this one rebounded by Javion Byers. He's going to be fouled, and he will get a couple of chances from the free throw line. So Byers, so far on the year, a 38% free throw shooter. So a good decision on who, if you're going off of the stat sheet. Let's see what he can do here. Puts the first one up, and that one is good. 15th points on the night for Javion Byers. Now a second shot coming for him. Puts it up, makes it. So perfect on the line, and that trip is Byers. Substitution for the Bearcats as Byers will exit the matchup in exchange for Gallagher. So a little bit more size being brought on by the opposition. As now Williams hands it off to Holden, who takes a long three and nails a long three. Now a timeout taken by the Wildcats. We'll take one too. Be back with you on 30. '88 won the Berg, your Music Central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. Ryan Gildersleeve bringing you the last minute and 20 seconds of this matchup between the two Cats, Wildcats and Bearcats. Facing off in tonight's matchup, the Wildcats trail by 12 in a matchup that has become an unexpected runaway for Northwest Missouri, who make the trip up here to face off against Northwest Nazarene. They go through that matchup, losing by 6 to now face off against the GNAC champion Wildcats. As Jamari Harris with the steal, he'll go to Anderson. Anderson to Holden, takes another three, makes another three. So that one cuts the lead down to 9 now for the Bearcats as Kevin Holden registers his 24th points of the game. And it's going to be Wildcat coach Brandon Renta arguing that the time was not properly allocated there. And there will actually be a timeout called, the last for Coach Renta of the quarter. With that, ladies and gentlemen, one turnover will remain for the Bearcats, and we'll see if they use it after this. We'll be back in just a moment. 88 won the Berg, your Music Central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. Ryan Gildersleeve here to bring you the final 58 seconds of action between the Northwest Missouri Bearcats and your Central Washington Wildcats. Right now, the Bearcats lead it by 9. They've got a minute to secure that, though the last couple of Wildcat drives have been placed. They've had an exclamation point placed on the end of them, to say the least. A couple of quick three-pointers by Kevin Holden has cut the separation down quite a bit. 6 points, to say the most specific. But one way or another, now you can see Coach Rinta organizing his players before the inbound comes from Emery Knox. He's going to send it into Javion Byers. Byers back to Knox. He'll be fouled, and now let's see what he does in his trip to the line. Now, as previously mentioned, there is no turnovers remaining for either of these two teams. So we will not have another timeout stop play in this matchup. Keep in mind, the Bearcats in the bonus, so they will shoot these shots every time a foul is committed, and on the first one, Knox is going to knock it down. He registers his 20th points of the night with that one, and now his second one will get put up. Knocks that one down too, so now 21 points for him. Of course, that last matchup, he finished with 15, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. Here's Kevin Holden. He moves it over to Garrett Anderson. Anderson back to Holden. Holden, step, 3, nails it! Kevin Holden's hit 3 straight three-pointers. He's got 27 points tonight, and there is less than 40 seconds remaining. On the other end, a missed dunk, and they're going to call a foul against the Wildcats. So a very intriguing call on that one. It'll be a push, and they'll call that one against Jamar. They're going to call that one against Jamari Harris. Of course, he was parked right underneath the basket, but, man, that's a rough one. Here's the shot, and it's off. So he misses on the first free throw opportunity. The second one could push the lead back up to 9. He shoots, he scores. So now 9 points separate these two teams, as bringing it up is Kevin Holden. Holden goes up and over to Anderson. Anderson, step back 3 for his own, and he knocks it down. So Garrett Anderson now making it interesting. 12 points on the last 4 drives by the Wildcats. And now, here is Byers. Byers fouled. And they'll stop the clock at 21-4. 6 points now separate these two teams. And the Wildcats need a miss. Hey, let me tell you, let's start to spur one in here, folks. Let's talk about the free throw shooting statistics on the season for one Javion Byers. 38% he shot from the charity stripe coming into this game. The Wildcats will hope to see that number hold strong on this one, as he'll make the first. So now 7 points separate these two teams. Byers with his 17th on that one. Chance to register 18 points with another made free throw. This one up. And that one's missed. Rebound goes to Maverick Sanders. Sanders now to Williams. Williams searching for who it'll be. It's Anderson. And he'll miss off the back iron. Jamari Harris takes one. He'll make it and be fouled. So now Jamari Harris with an and one try from the outside. He's got a chance to cut this one down to striking distance for the Wildcats if he hits one. 78-82, your current score. The Wildcats now enter the bonus with that one, as Jamari Harris, quite possibly the most important free throw of his basketball career, coming up on this one right here. A chance to extend this matchup a little bit further, give the Wildcats a chance to win. Here's the shot, and it's off. Rebound goes to Anderson. Anderson to Williams. Williams moving out right. He gets it to Harris. Harris takes the 3. It's off. But the Wildcats do get second chance points. They cut the lead down to 2. Now here's Radigan, and he's fouled. So Radigan's fouled. There's 3.5 seconds remaining in the game. Radigan's going to the line. Only 2 points separate these two teams. If Radigan misses 1 of 2, then we're going to see the Wildcats put up the final shot of the game, in which a 3-pointer would give them the tie and push it to overtime. We need 1 or 2 misses here if you're the Wildcats, and Radigan drains the first one. He's got a chance to all but secure the win for his team with a three-pointer here. Mitch Brizzi going to sub in for Jamari Harris. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll bring you the stage once more. 3.3 seconds remain in the game. Radigan shooting a free throw now. If he misses, there's a chance. He misses. Now Holden, he's got 2 seconds to take the shot from half court. It's off. It's going to hit the outside of the net. And ladies and gentlemen, in a heartbreaking fashion, the Wildcats drop this matchup 83-80. It is the Northwest Missouri Bearcats taking home a much-needed victory. They're third on the season overall. They're third coming in overall play. They have won in conference play still. One way or another, folks, it cannot be understated. The game that the Bearcats brought to Central Washington tonight was one to be admired. I have to say, folks, this might just be a team to keep an eye on for the rest of their conference play as they came in and played their hearts out. If you're talking about the Bearcats, folks, this is a matchup where I feel compelled to name my player of the game for the opposition, and it has to be Emery Knox. He came in, showed why he's the number one overall scorer, showed why he's the number one scoring option, showed why they put the ball in his hands in every single possession, and made you understand why he is in the position that he is in. The Wildcats, on the other hand, they come back, put together a string of incredible offense on their side of the ball as they prepared themselves for what could have been an unfathomable comeback. Of course, just a couple of mistakes not made in that first half, and there was an opportunity for glory there for the Wildcats in those last stages. Unfortunately, that is not going to be the case here tonight. Your Wildcats drop this one, and they will relegate themselves to 7-4 on the year overall. Still 2-0 undefeated in conference play. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got one more exhibition matchup for your Wildcats for the remainder of this winter break as they take on Coach Gary Payton's Lincoln University on Thursday. Ladies and gentlemen, do not miss that one. It is bound to be a great night of action if you caught that Lincoln University game from last year. One way or another, thank you for tuning into our broadcast tonight, whether it be on 88.1 The Berg or on our CW Athletics live stream. I am Ryan Gildersleeve, and for 88.1 The Berg, for your CW Athletics live stream, this is myself signing off.